Hey everybody, it's Mike from Orderflows and welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you can join me for today's video. I'm going to be talking about value areas and how to trade around developing value or value gaps during the day. But before we jump in, if you've been enjoying watching these videos and learning from them, be sure to hit the subscribe button and be sure to also click on the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads that I do. And if you find today's video helpful, be sure to leave a comment sharing your biggest takeaway or whether you agree with me or disagree. And, if you got any suggestions for any other videos, be sure to put them in the comments. I'm going through all the comments the last several days, and I'm sort of compiling them together to sort of bust out some videos on them. So, keep them coming. All right, so let's get ahead and get started with today's topic, value areas. So, value areas, okay, if you're familiar with market profile or volume profile, right, the value areas where the majority of the bar's volume trades, and sort of the industry standard is the 68.2 or 70% amount of volume in a bar. And this is a 30-minute chart, with the bars that have the volume profile, and you can see the value area is the darker color inside of the bar's range, right? The lighter color is the volume at the rest of the range. And it's a nice visual to look at in the market. And there's ways to trade these individual bar volume profiles. Me personally, I don't get so caught up on the actual shape of the profile. You get a lot of different shapes. This bar's got this is sort of the normal bar, the D shape. You get a double. This is actually, oh, that's nice. Sorry about that. You got this sort of triple distribution here. Value, this high volume node here, here, and here. There's going to be bars that have double distributions, right? So again, don't get caught up so much in the shape of the bars. Really, what I like to focus in on is the value areas for the bars, right? And oftentimes you're going to see the next bar or several bars later testing previous bars, earlier bars, value areas, right? And oftentimes inside the value areas where you're going to get the bar's point of control. Now, where it gets interesting is when you start, again, looking at order flow, adding value areas to it, okay? So this is a footprint chart, and sort of one of the big changes that I made on my footprint chart several years ago is adding the value area, the bar's value area, just basically calculating where 70% of the volume transacts in that bar, right? Again, I'm not focusing on the actual shape of the bar, or the shape of the profile rather. I'm just more interested in understanding where the majority of the volume traded, okay? So you can see here, right, this green candle right in the middle, this green area inside the candle is the value area, right? On a red candle, it's going to color the value area red. So on green up candles, green. On red down candles, red. On doji candles, candles that open and close at the same price, it's going to be gray, okay? And oftentimes, you're going to see when the market is trending, right, it becomes very visual, right? You can see green, green, green in the value areas, and what you want to start focusing on is these gaps in the value areas. Now, ICT traders are going to say, well, that's a fair value gap. Well, no, not really. It's different, right? Because here you're just looking at the gaps from the value area high to the value area low of a bar, okay, of preceding bars. So, like example, this is a value area gap from 44.46 and 3/4 up to 44.48. Right, value area low of this bar, value area high of this bar. That's your gap, right? The ICT guys, this is them. Their gap is 47 up to 48. Okay, so it's slightly different, right? But this is based on volume as opposed to just price action. Okay, here's a gap in value here between 44.41 and 44.41 and a half. Okay. Now this is not a fair value gap. This would be the fair value gap based on ICT stuff. Okay, so it's different, right? Don't get it confused, because I know I had some traders when I was first explaining them, the importance of gaps in value. So that's a fair value gap, but no, it's not. This is actually based off of volume as opposed to price action. Okay, and one of the things that I like to look for in value areas is when you don't trade back into them in the next bar, right? So like here, right, I can see, I can draw out the zone. I know this is the value area, and this to me is one of my favorite trade setups, right? People always ask in the comments, just give me a strategy, give me your favorite trade setup. Well, this is one of them. I don't have one that I like. You know, I've got 3 kids in my house, a girl and 2 boys. Do I have a favorite child? No, right? You love them all. Same thing with trade setups, right? Because with trade setups, you can't just live and die by one setup, right? You need several, because not every day the market trades the same way. You know, today, if you were to, you know, look at this. Today it was a big one-way direction from basically from the cash open all the way up to about 1 o'clock, right? And since 1 o'clock, we've been going sideways. So if you're trading, you can't trade this type of price action or this type of market action the same way you would trade this type of market action. Here, it's clearly a trend day, whereas now we're consolidating up in here. Okay, so you know that's why when people say, "What's your best trade setup?" Well, there's not one, right? There's a bunch, and I like to talk about them in these videos, right? It's up to you to sort of take away what you can add to your own trading. So with the value area that's left untested by the next bar, right? It's telling me that the market is sort of rejecting that previous value area, but it's more to it than just having one value area that's not retested. What I like to see, right, is an area where the market's been balancing. How can I tell if a market's been balancing? Well, if I've got several value areas that are overlapping, in this case, 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars, 5 bars. These are all these bars, the value areas overlapping. Now we're starting to break out of this little balance that took place over 5 minutes. This is a 1-minute chart, okay? You know, for example, right here, the market is sort of coming down, okay? Got this little balance area of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. Got a gap here, okay, a little bit. Let's go lower. It kind of went a little bit lower, pulled back, and then went a little bit lower. Here it's balancing for 1, 2, 3 bars, right? And the market's, you know, sort of holding its own, going sideways. But let's take a look back. That's where we are, you know, right now. Time is I'm making this video just before cash close. But let's just go back to around the cash open, okay? Now I'm not going to look at the values that just right before the cash open, because it's kind of quiet. But this was interesting, right? This was an area where the market had been going sideways. 1 value area, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are overlapping, right? By overlapping, I'm saying they share. These 2 share a common price. These 2 share a common price. These 2 a common price. These 2 a common price. This one. Then you get this gap, right? Doesn't trade back into it in this bar. It gets within 1 tick, and then it comes back and closes down. Then you get another gap here, okay? Now, what was interesting about this one was we traded lower, right? We traded down to 13.5. So I had 1 value area gap here that wasn't tested. Then I had 1 here, but all of a sudden we're trading above it, okay? What's the market telling you, right? It's telling you that there was some selling pressure, okay? Obviously, we got negative deltas. But the price action is opposite, right? You're starting to see, you know, we have this gap in value. Technically, we should be trading below. We should be trading down at 13, at 12, at 11, but it's trading up. So what was bearish information is actually turned to bullish because we're trading above that price level. Just like if you think of it, you have a resistance level in the market and you're trading above it. You're not going to be thinking, I got to short this because we're trading above it. No. Now you broke resistance. You'd be looking for the market to find a next area to go to, right? A next resistance area. And then right afterwards, we've got another value area, but this time it's a bullish value area that hasn't been tested back into, okay? So I went from bearish to bullish, right? After I got through this resistance area of basically market generated information, and then it was just basically off to the new highs, right? Pull back a little bit. I got a little value area gap here with one that's not tested back into. Just sort of go sideways. And then again, we start getting 1, 2, 3, a gap here, right? Another value area that's untested with the gap there, and we're just going up and up. And again, value area by itself is one thing. If you start adding in more forms of order flow analysis, right? You don't have to just take it by itself, right? Because sometimes value area gaps are going to give you good signals alone, but if you could add other parts of order flow to it, such as, okay, what do I got here? I've got value area that's not tested, and this bar I've got some very strong aggressive buying. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buying imbalances in here, right? This bar I got 1 buying imbalance. Here I've got 7 lots. I got a thin print in that bar. Earlier here, right, I got 3 buying imbalances coming in. This is kind of like a nice little reversal. I got a single print, 7 in here, okay? Then afterwards, what do I got? I got stacked buying imbalance, right? I've got a 0 print in there. So, you know, your job as a trader is sort of put these pieces of the puzzle together, right? Are there imbalances in the bar? Yes. Buying imbalances. Okay. What else do I got? I got a thin print in the bar. I've got a value area that's not being retested, because generally speaking, oftentimes you're going to go back and test the previous bar's value area. So when you don't retest that previous bar's value area, the market is giving you information right here. This is, again, this is a 30-minute S&P chart, right? And you can see, for the most part, value areas, all right, we open up, trade back into the previous bar's value area. But on a trending market, one of the signs that we're going to be looking for is value areas that are not overlapping, right? Where you get this gap in value from this bar to this bar, gap in value from this bar to this bar, gap in value from this bar to this bar, right? Value area overlaps here, overlaps here, overlaps here, overlaps here. Got a little gap here, squared up, another gap here. Now we're just basically going sideways. But that's what it looks like in a trending market. People always ask me, what's a sign, early sign of trend? Watch value areas, right? I mean, this is POC framing where you got 3 higher point of controls. But really the sign to me, rather than waiting 3 bars on a 30-minute chart, I got a gap in value forming here, right? Then we're trading higher. So that, to me, it's giving me an earlier sign than relying on the point of controls. Yeah, it's nice to see the point of controls moving higher. But if I could pick up some signs on a shorter time frame, value area bars. Now, some people, you know, they don't look at it on a bar by bar basis. You know, maybe they look at it on, you know, on the session. Okay, and if you're honestly, if you're looking at on a session, you're not going to see if there's a gap in the value taking place. Okay, I mean, you're going to see it only from this day to this day. Right? But this day's not done yet. But generally what you're going to see on a daily basis is, you know, this is the value area here. We come back, you know, we're trading inside that value area, trading inside the previous bar's value area. Right? We even trade all the way up, come back into the bar's value area. Right? Now we do have a gap forming here in value areas. There's a lot of ways to analyze value areas. I don't know if you want to see some more videos on how some of the different ways I look at value areas. Just, you know, leave a comment there. I'm going through the comments. Hopefully, over the next couple of days, I can start putting out more and more videos on your comments. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. And again, you know, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye-bye.